Okay, so Clause 12 contains provisions for a code of practice. So this clause gives the Secretary of State, he or she, whoever it may be, powers to introduce further guidance, a code of practice for local authorities to have regard to and tell us how we should deliver our homelessness prevention services. So we've mentioned the code of guidance a few times already. This is something that will be potentially sits above and beyond the code of guidance, and the code of practice will have the intention to improve standards of homelessness services in England. So a code of practice, it could be a overall one code of practice, it could be a series of code of practices looking at particular functions and particular areas of performance, and it won't replace the current code of guidance. The code of guidance is a very useful document, and we always have to have regard to the code of guidance whenever we perform any of our functions, but the code of practice could be something that will be specifically focused on improving standards and getting standards to where the governments, where the Secretary of State wants them to be. As we already mentioned in the previous discussions, we're going to have the new HCLIC, our performance, our outcomes are going to be monitored to a much greater degree than they currently are. And if, based on this performance monitoring, government think that local authorities aren't meeting the duties to prevent and relieve homelessness or aren't performing their functions in the most effective way or in the way that they're expected to do so, we could be faced with a code of practice being drafted and issued to make sure the standards are where we would expect them to be.
So what do you need to do? Well, you could say you don't need to do anything because there isn't a code of practice, but actually what you need to do to make sure that the government doesn't decide to introduce a code of practice is to make sure that you do everything else that we've said. So make sure that you are implementing the Act as you are complying with your responsibilities and you are preventing homelessness where you can. So I think it is about being aware that this, if the government are not happy with the way local authorities are implementing the Act, then they are very likely to introduce one, but you don't want one because it will tell you lots of things you have to do, or we'll provide guidance. It won't be mandatory, but really I think it is about delivering everything is the most important thing, really, that you actually, you are following the legislation and you're providing good services.